Hi everyone, my name is Jess Plyle and my pronouns are she, her, and I'm so excited to be your instructor for drawing this semester. I am a little bit bummed out. I did just have shoulder surgery, so I will not be able to be in person until February. That being said, I'm so grateful that we have our amazing sub for this class, and then for the next couple weeks, we will be asynchronous online and I'll tell you a little bit more about what that will look like. But have no fear. Once February hits, I will be back and we will be back in person for drawing all together. So for this video, I'll tell you a little bit about myself. I'll talk about what our semester will look like and what we'll learn about together. And then we will have space for questions. You can email me or send me a Canvas message if you have any questions about this video or need any more support. So a little bit about myself. I've been at Weber State since 2019. I have been working at Safe at Weber, where I am the program administrator. I oversee all of the domestic violence, dating violence, sexual assault, stalking, and harassment training on campus, so prevention training, as well as advocacy programs. Beyond that, I also love to teach. So I've been teaching in a few different departments. I taught in the Women and Gender Studies department for a few years, as well as I teach climbing, ice climbing, and mountaineering in the recreation department. And then I also teach in the honors department, where I teach a feminist and queer studio art class, as well as a blended gender studies and rock climbing course called Risk Resilience in Rock Climbing. I'm super excited. This is my very first class in the visual arts department, and I'm so excited to be here with you all and learn and grow with you all as well. Um, a little bit about my art background. So I graduated with a bachelor's in fine arts in visual studies, which means it was a very conceptual program. We did a lot of experimenting with different media to create work based on concepts. So I did a lot of video work, performance work, and sculpture are my primary media. And then when I went to graduate school, I got a master's of arts in intermediate arts. So continuing with that interdisciplinary art practice, doing a lot of installation work, performance, and video. And I also got an MFA in sculpture. So love art. I've been drawing my whole life. I love drawing. That was how I first got into art in the first place. I grew up drawing manga and anime and cartoons, and then I started doing more drawing from real life once I got into college. So excited to be on this journey with you all and hopefully sharing the love of drawing with you guys. So I will share a little bit about what we'll be going through this semester. Okay, we're going to play. All right. So, yes, continue to share. Okay, great. So for week one, again, I really just want to get to know you all. I want to know a little bit about your background in art and your background in drawing. Please know to take this class, you do not need to be an expert illustrator. Some of you might have a lot of experience, and some of you, this might be the very first time you're taking an art class. Either way, so excited to work with you and get to know a little more about you. Your first drawing for this class will be a sketch in your sketchbook introducing yourself. We also this week will talk about establishing a practice. So figuring out how to create a space that is conducive to drawing and being able to observe and draw from real life. Please note for the majority of the projects in this course, you will have to draw from observation in real life, not from photos and not from your imagination. So we're going to be practicing a lot of observation skills. So establishing your practice is a big part of that. In week two, we'll start to explore contour and line. Although there are no actual lines in real life, that is the first step and foundational step for us to think about how to draw from life. So we'll be practicing a lot with line and a lot of different ways of looking and observing to create those lines. So if you see here, you can see that this is a blind contour drawing. So again, not even looking down at your paper, but really observing from life. In week three, we'll start to explore cross contour and surface. So considering how to show 3 dimensions on a 2-dimensional form, such as a drawing. So really looking at the ways in which line can show that surface. In week 4, we get into negative and positive space. This is always a really fun unit because we start to flip the ways in which we observe. So typically when people start illustrating or drawing, they start by thinking about the object itself. Um, but in negative space, we start to consider the space around the object. So it's a lot of fun. It's really, really fun to start flipping the way that you observe in everyday life. In week 5, we'll start to discuss value. So we've learned a lot about how to create line. Now we want to consider how to make things start to appear more three-dimensional in our drawings. We'll start to go into shading. So really considering how to shape and create the illusion of three-dimensional space. We'll do that by both adding, so we'll work predominantly in charcoal during this unit, and then also subtracting. So taking away erasers and charcoals will both be your friends in this unit. Then we'll jump right into perspective. So going back to line for a little bit to really consider the way in which perspective shifts the way our world looks. So really thinking in mathematical terms, what perspective looks like as we're drawing space. So we typically see this when we're drawing spaces in which we live or spaces in which we work. As you can see here, a space in the art building itself. One of your larger projects will be an expanded perspective assignment where you'll learn the rules of perspective to play with them and kind of shift the way we make an impossible space possible. So we'll be looking at artists who've done this, such as MC Escher, and we'll talk more about this as it gets closer. In week 9, we'll start considering alternative processes. So really thinking about texture and thinking about the ways in which the world around us can be played with and how we start to learn the rules of illustration and drawing, and then we start to break them. In week 10, we'll start considering the figure, so the body itself, looking into faces, as well as into different parts of the body. So hands, of course, are something that a lot of artists struggle with, and we'll be processing that together. In week 12, we'll start considering back to abstraction. So really thinking about different patterns and different textures again. And then in week 13, we'll do pattern geometry. So thinking about tessellations. In week 14, we'll again play with those rules and then also learn how to break them in fun and creative ways. So deconstruction. We'll look into some really interesting surrealist art and how those types of artworks can be really, really fun and have a different shift from our only working from real life to now starting to add the surreal. And then it's our finals week. So we will have a self-portrait as your final. You will have 4 main projects throughout this semester. So one really focusing on contour line, one focusing in on value and shading, and doing a charcoal still life. Then you'll have your expanded perspective project. And then your final project, you'll have a little more freedom because again, you've learned all those rules, so then you can start to play with and break them in your creative self illustration. Self-portrait. Oh my gosh, couldn't figure out the word. So please know that those 4 projects are about half your grade. And then a little more than half your grade is your sketchbook. So hopefully you all have your sketchbook today on day 1, because we're going to be using it starting right away. And again, we don't have any textbooks for this class, but that's because you're creating your own textbook. You'll be practicing all sorts of different skills and experiments throughout your sketchbook, as well as you'll have a few free draw pages that you can do whatever you want with them. And then you will also do 5 looks into contemporary artists and illustrators who hopefully you can learn from and get inspired by. Every class, there will be warm-up exercises as well. Please note, as we are online, they will be on Canvas. Once we get back in person, we will be doing all of these in person. So, for our critiques and for getting graded, you will need to post all of your projects and your sketchbook pages to Canvas so that I can grade them accordingly. For our critiques, they will predominantly be in person for the last three projects, but for the first project, because I will still be working from home, we will do our critique online. And so, what that will look like is you will embed 2 to 3 photos of your work, making sure to note detail areas as well as the full piece, a title and a few statements on your concept or your process. Then you will always post that before the class we will be critiquing in. And then for the online one, you will post it on Sunday. For that, you will also make sure that you respond to 5 other people's projects, giving them 5 to 10 sentences talking about their work, things that you can observe about their work, like line quality, on the quality of the craft or the effort, the creativity. One thing that is strong about the piece, so what's really standing out as going well, and then one thing that could use improvement. Because again, as critiques and artists go, it's really important that we give feedback that is helpful to continue that artist's growth of their process. You will see that Canvas will be our best friend. Every single project, you will be turning in a version online. So please, please, please make sure that your photos are showing the work as it is. So make sure we're not adding any edits or any Photoshop or anything like that. Just taking a photo of the work as you've created it, and making sure that there's nothing in the background and that we're really focusing on the piece. You will notice that again, for those first few weeks, I do have everything separated from Monday to Wednesday. This is to give you a way of directing the work that you're doing. Um, and then everything will be due on Sunday. Sunday at midnight will always be our deadlines. So please note that if I give you work Monday and Wednesday, all of that work will be due on Sunday at midnight. So I would highly recommend when we are doing the asynchronous online for the first month that you are really being sure to regulate your time. Our classes are about 3 hours when they are in person, twice a week. And so you should be putting that much time in, even when we're online for the first bit of the semester. There are other resources on the Canvas, so please, please, please explore. There's more student examples online. The modules, that's going to be your sweet spot. That's where everything is, all the assignments are. But you'll see the artists that you can research, examples of sketchbooks, and also the rubrics. So how I will be grading you throughout the semester. Also, do not hesitate to reach out. Feel free to send me an email. Feel free to schedule office hours with me via Zoom while I'm not there and then in person when I am. Please know I'm here for you, and I'm so excited to support you and your growth as artists. So next steps, you can check out all of the different things on Canvas, as well as continue to enjoy your in-person class today. Thank you so much, and let me know if you need anything from me. Let me stop my share. All right, well, thank you all, and please reach out if you need anything. Take care, stay safe, and I will see you soon.